This is your daily market recap for Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. Wet, wild day. Slip and slide, everything up and down. Hopefully you are in a position where you're safe. Ultimately, if you had stops, if needed. And as we recommended yesterday, literally at the close, hope you took profits into the market. And let's get into it. First things I want to discuss is that the Discord room is not going to be open invite anymore. At this point, it's become a big headache from the sense of it's really hard to help a lot of people thoroughly, which they need. If you're interested in joining the Discord room, reach out. We'll talk about it. Again, everybody has needs in the market. Ultimately, there's a ton of free information from the YouTube channel. If you have questions, please reach out. And on that note, again, I hope people are being very, what I would say, cognizant of their own weaknesses, because the market during OPEX, very choppy. And today was a classic example of chop. And probably bigger than what I would have expected. If you had down 5% on your bingo board of options expiration, things that could happen, you had me beat. Bitcoin, as we said, probably going nowhere. Popped, pulled back. I mean, I don't think there's really a lot to say on it. If you have questions about Bitcoin, you really just need to have defined plans. Like, you need to hold lows, and if it's going to go higher, it needs to go higher. I mean, there's really not a lot to say. I mean, a lot of people want to know, well, hey, what do you think of this? And I'm like, well, that's the reality. It's just not going. It's not going places fast, and that's just the reality of it. Again, maybe it could pop. We don't know. Oil, talked about shorting pops, holding like this range, lows. I still anticipate lower prices because of what? Demand destruction, recession, somewhere down in here. We'll see. I mean, keep in mind, there is a bull market in commodities coming. It's just before that happens, you have to be very cognizant of how the market's going to react. Okay? It's not going to be a straight line move. The dollar said yesterday, come back down to the 29s. Here you go. Hit the 20-day, bounce today. Now, could it be choppy, sloppy? Yeah. I mean, you saw this move when it got down into range lows, pop, and then came back. Could we do that? I mean, that's probably the probability game. Because, again, the people are going to be talking about dollar weakness, dollar strength, yada, yada, OPEX. All confusion. TLT. Feel good about this one. Look at the volume day. Gap down. Close at the high of the day back into range. This, my friends, is a bear trap. Potentially. If you bought today, you bought the last couple days near the lows, mwah, kiss. Well done. Anticipating at worst a 20, maybe 30-point move, depending on where it happens in the markets in near term. Again, when the market gets scary, which it will at some point, Halloween, scary. No, it's going to bounce. And when it bounces and people are looking for safety, they're going to buy bonds. Just like they've been buying the dollar. It's really that simple. Be safe out there. Just remember, I mean, we could be wrong. Nobody's saying, hey, you can't lose. Like, anybody's probably saying that you can't lose, run away. Run, 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 run. All right? Got it? Good. The VIX. All right, so I have a big problem with today's action as an anomaly. Considering the market was down 5%, the VIX was only in the 20s. Something's not right here. Tons of people are hedged. The put-call ratio is in the 2s. Was at 2 at one point. Everybody's bearish after being everybody's bullish. Well, guess what? ChopX. That's what it does. We came back up to the range highs and the 27s backed off. I still anticipate at some point to fill the gap or back off before we go up. It just seems very logical. This is the thing I have the biggest problem with. Bull, bear, whatever. For a market to move big in a direction, it needs to catch a lot of people off guard. There's a huge ES futures short as a hedge, and people are buying tons of puts. If the put-call ratio is up in the 2s, 2 puts for every call. That to me is what? That means people are buying puts too aggressively. Market makers not going to want that to happen. Who knows what the news is going to be, but just be cognizant of that, all right? The VIX. In. Popped up, made a lower high. Again, we talked about it. Bounce, pulling back. again, people are like, oh, you missed this. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't lose or I don't anticipate things. I'm giving the best probability mindset odds that I think is going to happen. Chop. That's what you want to see, is some chop. You don't want to see the big rip up or rip down with the futures hedged and everybody long puts, because then the market maker has no really desire to continue to rip it lower, right? If the market maker is controlling this game, which they are, if you're in denial, that's fine. It's a long river. You can float it on your own. That's the problem here. We'll see what happens. SPY. A lot of people are like, I hate saying that, are freaking out, but we talked about taking profit in the upside target zone. Now you pull back. You pull back to essentially the trend and where we started. If this is a 10-minute chart, you wouldn't be saying anything. You'd be like, oh, that seems kind of normal. Oh, yeah, you pull back. Well, you're in OPEX, you gap down, and everyone's like, pro gap started moving. It's like, the conditions aren't ripe. Remember up here we talked about everybody was bullish, get ready for the wipeout. Everybody's bearish, wait for the rally. Now, sentiment is literally going to be flipping back and forth for days with ChopX. Going into what? The Feds. I mean, the whole the big news that the Feds are somehow going to raise rates 1% became what I consider, one of the Fed governors. I can't remember which one, but that's not true. That's absolutely not true. Not happening. Feds aren't going to do that at this point. It doesn't do anything. They've priced in 75 basis points. That's what's going to happen. Now you're right back where you started and everyone's freaking out. Again, if this is a 10-minute chart, you're probably like, oh, I'd be buying more. Now people are like, world's ending. Let's see what happens. Again, things that might not be bearish. Here you go. Making potentially a high or low. Things that might not be bearish. Now, again, we talked about getting up in here, taking profits. Maybe you could get up to 315. Greedy. You greedy sack of you-know-what. We talked about this. Don't be surprised. And now you come back, we'll see what happens. I mean, you're almost at levels again where you start buying. If you're wrong, you're gone. You've still got some of those shorts that we talked about. Keep your pants and your shorts on. For longer dated stuff, you're not really too concerned. You just know it's a trader's market. You gotta trade it. IWM, we talked about getting up in near 190. Then hit it. Backed off. Things that aren't bearish. Notice with the SPY and the QQQ, much farther lower. This holding the 100th day. Things that don't look bearish. Again, this is just ChopX. If you don't know what option expiration is, please check out the YouTube channel called Why is Option Expiration Important? Check it out. Watch it. Understand it's a quad witching. Gold. Everybody last week, you're an idiot for not buying. I'm like, no. Gold is going to play the game of what? Smoke out all the bulls. Going to be a lot of stake at some point for the market makers. They're going to wipe out all these people who've been buying the last 2 years. It'll go whatever. I don't know how low it'll go. Maybe it gets to the 140s. I don't know. But it's going to knock everybody out before it goes higher. That's what the goal is. I mean, that's the best trap. Talk about like the TLT. Went slightly lower and came right back in. This action. No volume. No confirmation. The market makers are getting people to shake out. People are like, oh, it's strong hands, diamond hands, gold hands. No. No. Telling you, paper game. You're not, again, no one's making you sell, obviously, your physical gold and silver. They shouldn't. But paper hand game, they know how to manipulate. It's like, market's been manipulated for years. Oh, but it's not manipulated now. Or it is, but it's going to go higher. It's like, wrong. Wrong. Again, what did we talked about? The best time to buy gold and silver is going to be when? When the Feds actually do announce a pivot. They're not pivoting. Stop it. I hate this. It just drives me nuts because it's like, oh, you're wrong, you're right, you're wrong, you're right. I'm like, sell, get out. And I'm telling you, I haven't bought in since. Oh, but you missed these rallies. No, I was in other stuff. Didn't miss anything. Just did not choose to play the trade of pain, the purgatory train. Right? Like, this has gone nowhere, essentially. We're back right where we started from 2020. Don't be surprised at some point if you go into the 15s, wipe out, go, who knows? Maybe you get down to 13. Again, paper silver. Stop pretending this is like a real physical metal. This market is so bullcrap. GDX hit the 50 day. Everyone's like, oh, it's breaking out. I'm like, nah, whatever. See you at the lows. Gone. Not going anywhere. Again, even if it pops, I just don't have any desire. I'm to let it all play out. GDXJ, this is the one we want because, again, it's been acting better. Got back up to the May highs as GDX got nowhere close. I'm telling you, just leave this stuff alone. I'm just going to wrap through it quick. AG, Talked about it yesterday. Cool, it popped. Meh, gap right back down. Gone. AEM, put an alert out. When? Where? For the lows, somewhere down in the upper 30s. That's all you got to do. Newmont, leave it alone because in the next bull cycle, the big boys got to buy the juniors. Junior? What are you doing here, Junior? Yeah, think of, Raiders of the Lost Ark or whatever. Sean Connery talking to Harrison Ford. Junior? Junior. The penitent man will pass. The penitent. Yes, be patient. The patient man will pass. You can't buy this stuff early. I'm telling you, it's just purgatory. It's absolute purgatory. You have to trade it, but it doesn't even give you that much juice to trade off of. I'm telling you, they're going to knock these suckers down. Letter X, what do we say? It's going to be a wild west. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Leave it alone. Love materials coming out of the next bear market or bull market. We're starting the next bull market. Now, I don't. Choppy, sloppy, toppy. Got it. VALE. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Probably comes back to fill the gap at some point fully. CCJ. Oh my God, everyone's bearish. Now, no one's bearish. Everybody's bullish uranium. That's the problem here, right? Everyone's bullish oil. What happened? Remember at 130? Going to 200. Going to 150. Let's up the targets. 250. 250 oil. Anybody? Now it's back in the 80s. Everybody's bullish. Again, at the highs in uranium. Now, no one's going to doubt the long-term probably potential of this. But I've said this all the time. Like, there's nothing safe. When everyone piles into something in a bear market, bad place to be. Even Elon's pumping it. Now, good luck. I still think we're going to see 16, 18, maybe 21. Either way, don't buy it. Telling you. Arrow. Watch this range. Watch the range down here near the 8s. And when I say don't buy it, just like don't expect much. If you're Diamond Hands David over here trying to hold out for the big move, you're probably going to be holding for a long time. That's all. Remember, bear markets, if you think study the 2000s, like coming out of the tech bull market, it took years of choppiness to get to the point where people went, oh, commodities. Yeah, all day, all in. Let's actually keep the order. AM Dizzle. Somebody hit me up yesterday and they go, oh, it's got to go to 90. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Look, I did our trend line and 86 was your goal. Now you're back near the lows. Seems pretty obvious. Risk versus reward. Could you get back down to here? Yeah, maybe. But, I don't know. See what happens the next day or so. I'm telling you, Chop X. It's fun if you know what's coming. What are you doing, Alexa? You listening? SMH. Right back near the lows. Oh, if you bought down here and rode it up, we said get near 220. Close enough for government work. Hopefully you took profits. Now, I didn't take 100% profits, and it came back today. Closed out some of the shorter dated calls. Started back into some longer dated ones next week. Again, if this was the 10-minute chart and this was the bottom on the 10-minute, take away the gap, you might be like, oh, it's a retest. Time to buy. Oh, it's a retest. Time to short. See what I'm saying? Keep in mind, spec positioning. Everybody's bearish. Lots of puts, calls. Bad. A lot of puts. Putties. Apple comes right back. Game over. We'll see. Now, again, we'll see. That was uncertain. We started buying. I think I started buying at 150. I think I started buying some at the 50-day. Because I took most of my profits on lots of the shorter days of yesterday. So I started buying at 159, 158, 157. Dude, bad. But I was buying small, and then I started going big down here. Why? Because I'm back at the support zone. I don't anticipate Apple getting absolutely smoked just yet because they're going to probably use some sort of, look, their Apple orders are great. Look at how many people are in line to wait for a buy for an iPhone. Probably going to happen. Piper Jeffrey, let's upgrade the stock. Meh. Okay. Google, here we go. Back in the range lows. We'll see what happens. Everybody's waiting for higher prices. Now everybody's short again. It's like this thing's going to chop your brains out. And when I mean chop, going to be choppy. Chop suey. CRM comes right back down to the channel. If you were waiting for the 166, too bad. I guess the gap fill was all you got near term. That's why the more you're up, the less you own. People say, like, whoa, trading so hard. And it's like, well, no, you follow the parameters. It's not. You follow your own parameters, and you have these rules. And if you're trading options, the more you're up, the less you own. Mr. Softy, here we go, back near the range lows. We'll see what happens here. Big gap. Big gap. Now, at this point, what would I say? I don't know. I mean, this is the thing. It's just options expiration stuff gets so nutty. There's some people like, I refuse to trade during OPEX, and it's like sometimes OPEX literally forces you to trade because your positions get totally just bent over, bent around, and twisted. And if you traded it just a wee bit, you actually did okay. Amazon gets the upper range, backs off. Things that don't really look bearish to me. I know you're listening, Alexa. I see you, girl. I see you blinking at me. All right, we'll see what happens here. Right? Netflix gets up to what? 230s again? We talked about this. Sorry, I gotta zoom her in. Now you're back at the 50-day. All right, well, these trades now get really binary. You're long and you're gone. Roblox, same thing. Things that don't look bearish, that's holding up pretty darn good. Okay? Meta, things that don't look bullish. Yikes. Might be taking out the range lows. Might not. Again, just because it's a point below 155 or whatever the lows were, don't assume anything. Because sometimes what's the best move for the bears or the bulls is to do what? Trap the bears and then rip back up. This market could go sloppy choppy for a while. People don't realize that. MicroStrategy. Talked about buying it here. You got up in here to the point of resistance, backed off, just filled the gap. Doesn't look that terrible to me. Again, things that don't look absolutely murderous. NDAQ. Oh, really wish I would have shorted up there now. Comes back at the support zone. We'll see. Again, put all these names in your Rolodex and think about, all right, if I was short and I had long dated stuff, I probably wouldn't do anything. But if I had shorter dated stuff, or I just wanted to take profits because a 5% down move typically comes with a counter rally at some point, being OPEX, just know your levels, right? Know thy levels. XBI, here's another interesting setup. Comes right back, holds the 84 level. Is it bearish? I don't know. Doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look terrible. Like the Broncos offense last night. Gosh, that was brutal. Tesla, almost forgot. Look at this thing. It's just pulling back to the support zone here in like the 290s. Things that don't look terribly bearish. We'll see if the onion peels at some point, but I don't know. You tell me, folks. You tell me. Does it look terrible or not? I don't know. Futures after hours rallying a little bit, as you might expect. XLF. Man, hit the range highs, back to the 50-day. I don't know. Doesn't look terrible. Now, again, I know the volumes are high, but keep in mind, OPEX is going to be volume because there's going to be turnover. There's going to be a lot of what? Volatility. A lot of positions getting burned and churned and burned. Churned and burned. Remember, quarterly OPEXs, big deal. Morgan Stanley, down 3 points. Yep. Doesn't look that bad to me. Financials should be absolutely getting destroyed if the market was going lower. Pulling back to the 20, 50-day, whatever. 50-day in orange. Doesn't look terrible. They don't even have a buyback. We'll see. Now, again, I don't know if we get back to the highs. But I want to really refocus on some of the things that we know. Put call ratio, high. Big ES short future as a hedge. Positioning. Everyone's bearish. Everyone's anticipating down. That's a problem. Maybe we need to chop out for a while. Or maybe we need to pop back up to 410 on the SPY again. That wouldn't surprise me. And then see lower highs in a lot of names. That would be ideal. Let's go through EXPI. If fundamentals mattered, it's just going lower. In or stuck. Or going to get bought out. Keep it simple. UTHR, said this 1,000 times. Your trade is over. Your trade is over. Leave it alone. Now, if you own it in your retirement accounts, just beware. It's going to probably go south for the winter if the bear market continues on. Let's end it with oil, gas, and the names that be. Oil. Things that don't look bearish. I mean, if oil's tanking and the market's tanking, oil wouldn't be flat. UNG, people really want to short in oil and gas. I'm like, they don't look that bearish to me. Right? XOP down 4 points today. I mean, this thing should have been down like 10. Holding at the 8-day, just retesting for Thursday's lows. ExxonMobil, like down two and change. I guess you might be able to call this like a cresting pattern with doji hammer. Yeah. I still don't see it. Let's pull up a few other names just for bonus since this is a quicker video. HYG. I mean, again, corporate debt coming back down, holding, chopping. We'll see what happens, right? Again, focus on the TLT. It's coming back in. People are buying. UVXY, people keep asking about. I'm like, don't trade this thing. It's a piece of junk. Let it chop out. Again, trying to think of anything else important at this point because a lot of people ask about stuff and it's like, Oh, Intel. Remember this? I told people to leave this thing alone. Meh. It's a dog. It's got fleas. We're not running a kennel. We are not running a kennel. Where did this thing go? Well, whatever. All right. If you have questions, again, hit me up. The Discord room is now going to be only for members. I apologize if that bothers people, but you've had months to join. I've been getting overwhelmed trying to help people because, again, ultimately, most people don't work hard enough. If you really commit to like figuring this out, our conversations will prove to me very quickly that you've already learned a lot from the videos. You've watched what's going on. You've been paying attention on YouTube. That's where you need to spend your time because that's where all the content is. And then when you're ready, well, maybe we'll have a conversation for it. Because again, I do all this for free, but my time isn't free. Meaning I can't just give everybody free time. Again, if you have questions about real estate, this is where, let me rant on this for like 3 seconds. If rates are going to go lower near term, you need to be a buyer when everybody is freaking out. Because it doesn't matter what the interest rate is, you're probably going to be able to get a chance to refinance. And if inflation does go screaming higher and you bought something for 10, 15, 20% off the highs, and inflation goes higher, well, do your due diligence. 70s and 80s, the house prices doubled and tripled in North America, or in the US, with higher rates. Why? Because people who had lower interest rates weren't selling their houses. Most people aren't. That's why I want to buy. I love being able to buy when no one's around. It's like buying today during the market when you're watching the SPY and everybody's just puking their pants. And we're watching some of the market names and it's like, come right on in. Come right into our nice little pouch here in the 390s. Yeah, get yourself comfortable. Let's talk. Just keep in mind, this is one day and all it literally did was what? It's funny, people are like, it's the biggest down day since, but if you do this magnitude and you put it over this, they look pretty similar. We'll see. I don't necessarily believe that OPEX, because keep in mind, this wasn't OPEX. This was near the end of the month. OPEX was here, right? Where's the last one? In July. I think this is July OPEX. Bounce up. Just be safe out there, okay? I'm going to end it on that. Be safe. People are like, oh, I was up 15%, now I'm flat. Well, pretend like you're not up anything. Always ask yourself the same question. Am I trading well? What does my position say where I'm at? Because this is going to happen. If this is new to you or you're in a position and the market gapped against you, wake up. This is pretty normal. And again, you don't want to have that happen, but that's why we talk. That's why the rules matter, the disciplines matter. The actual execution of more you're up, less you own. Expect chop. It's a trader's market. It's a bear market. I'm telling y'all, everybody knows this except for what? The people not listening. I'll talk to you guys and gals later.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.